جناب سرمد سہبائی.
Dear friends, first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt regards to Mr. Vasanji, celebrated author, and his partner, Noor Jahan, the independent publisher who agreed to publish my book. I am also deeply thankful to my friends Asma and Arshad Mahmood, who invited me to this wonderful gathering, and my special thanks to Muniz Avesa, whose efforts brought this novel to life. My love and appreciation to Prashantji and Mr. Bhatti, who brought clarity to my chaos and created something out of nothing, which is a remarkable skill. We all know making sense out of nonsense is an art itself. As to the writing of this novel, I must confess that I'm not a novelist. Frankly speaking, I never intended to write any novel in my life, but this one could be called an accident. In July 1977, General Zia, the Chief of Army, took over the country by deposing the popular Prime Minister, Mr. Bhutto. It changed the whole rhythm of the society. A few weeks later, the general summoned the media representatives to the military headquarters in Rawalpindi for a close dialogue. Our officers dutifully rushed to the best barber shops for a Fauji Hajamat, a military crew cut, and on a hot summer day packed themselves in achkans, the national dress, buttoned up to their necks. Huddled in a close underground theater, we sat sweating in anticipation. Finally, a short-statured wannabe Napoleon toddled to the stage to play his Bonaparte. With a cigarette dangling from his mouth, he wore a thick pair of dark glasses ambushed by his hawkish eyes. Everyone stood without a whiff of breath. He stubbed his cigarette and removed his glasses. Like searchlights, his eyes scrutinized each one of us. To break that docile silence, the general opened his speech with a joke. In his nasal accent, he sneezed. I hope I am addressing the cream of the media and not the lassi. Cream, the makhan, and lassi, the watery churned milk. No one laughed, fearing that it could be wrong signal for the general to start a war or hang someone. He got ruffled but regained his composure with a better one. You were a beautiful bird put in the cage for a very long time. Now I have opened the lid, but the bird does not fly. Without thinking of the consequences, I raised my hand and said loudly, Sir, the bird knows who has the gun. The rest you can imagine. After 1.5 years of investigations, I was pulled out of the cultural city of Lahore and thrown into the wilderness of Rawalpindi Center, which was housed in a barrack abandoned by the Air Force officers. There was no work for me, as the center only aired news and current affairs without any play production. It was one of those useless days that when I noticed an old English typewriter sitting in a corner of my office. His alphabetical eyes stared at me with quizzical eyes. A revelation came. Why not learn typing to kill my time? I started hammering the practice keys. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. After a week or so, I found the fox tired and the lazy dog dead. Now what? I started typing fictional office orders to the producers, which I must say were quite obscene, but were charged with some kind of weird creativity. From those absurdities emerged a few characters, situations, and a plot. Well, like some people become writers by writing letters to the editor, I became a novelist by practicing my English typing. Talking about this novel takes me back to my experiences in the capital city of Islamabad, the power center of the country. This was a city of Lilliputs without any output. The lurid display of power mongers who strutted like pampered pricks in the capital city became my initial inspiration. The Blessed Curse is a grotesque farce about these stock characters of our history. The more I tried to fictionalize reality, the more it became real. What had started as a joke became darker and darker until it became a black joke. Please don't be misled by the cover of the book. I assure it's not a cookery book. Instead, it suggests the male cockiness. But of course, there is a rooster named as Tajul Kharoos, the crown bird, featured in the novel, whose ancestral nest was in the forbidden tree, and perhaps it had something to do with the first naughty act of Adam and Eve. So kindly, as they say, do not judge a book by its cover. This novel doesn't pretend to be an Anglophile work, nor does it seek to please the Western eye. Instead, it deflects the colonial gaze by using a South Asian idiom. You might find shades of our own literary traditions, such as Shahra Shop, a form of poetry where the moral decay of cities is portrayed. Similar works like Ibratnama and Zatulnama by Jafar Zitalli seem to be my inspiration. Perhaps you could also discern traces of Chaucer's bawdy tales, Swiftian satire, and cruel humor of two Roman classics, Satyricon and The Golden Ass. A friend described this novel as a carnal spoof on Attar's Conference of the Birds, while another one saw it as a phallic gaze at the veiled mystery of the womb. I am not capable of such profound interpretations, but if you look at the current political scene, you can see a growing male anxiety about the feminization of all cultures. The proud show and tell with a trumped-up phallic tone can be heard and seen clearly. In the end, I would like to offer my immense gratitude to Mr. Vasanji, who edited my novel. I must acknowledge that the novel's original version was too rude, erotic, and savage. I had requested Mr. Vasanji to butcher my novel. But as the wise ones fix a horny bull, Mr. Vasanji fixed my novel. This is a chapter called Burial Fest. A politician की जो accident, dies in a car accident, उसका थोड़ा सा जनाजे के बारे में. Sometimes past midnight, collected in a plastic sack, Zahur's body was brought to the hospital. Under the blazing lights on a table lay the litter of his mortal remains. Only a bit of toothpick remained in place between a pair of jammed teeth. Surgeons in white masks and synthetic gloves kept busy till late, reassembling the organic mess. By forenoon, they had tarted up the human junk for public viewing. Open display of grief disturbs the decorum of death. Out in the courtyard, everyone consoled everyone. Don't cry too much, it'll hurt the dead. No one listened. All were desperate to display their sorrow. Babies yelled in their mothers' laps, who quickly nippled them under their chadars. Children fought and pissed everywhere. No one scared. Everyone too busy lamenting the dead. The business of mourning went from huffed, sobbing to wheezing, muffled hiccups to hysterical theatrics, beating the chest, or just freezing in a sakta, the ultimate stupor with lidless eyes. Outside the main shamiana, a lama's boys swayed vigorously, chanting verses from the Quran in shrill voices. They looked happy in crumpled caps and unwashed clothes. It was hope that made them sway, the greed for money and the rich food that only came with death. For them, it was Eid in black clothes. Echo kuch kam ho sakti hai?
Born in Gujranwala, so I don't know what that means, but I want to say one thing.
Mandi ech, Gowal mandi ech, people who raat nu khane khune khande ne, zindagi drunk and to wo usse sahabi bhi hunde ne te sare matlab all log bhi hunde ne, artist, marasi, kanjar ye sare jama ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਦੀ ਗਏ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਬਈ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ ਤਾਲਿਬਾਨ ਆ ਜਾਣ, ਇੱਥੇ ਫੌਜ ਆ ਜਾਏ, ਇੱਥੇ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ
ਜੀ ਸਰ,
ਇਹ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ।
ਵਾਹ,
ਤੇ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਟਾਫੋਰਿਕਲ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲਾਹੌਰ ਦੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਾ ਦਲਾਨ ਉਹ ਹੈ, ਇਹੀ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਨਾ
ਜੀ ਸਰ,
ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਈ ਆਉਣ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ, ਮਤਲਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਓ ਨਾ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਗੇਟ ਤੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ, ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਅਜੀਬ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਜਾ ਬਈ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਬੜੇ ਤੇਜ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਮਾਮਲੇ 'ਚ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬਾਊ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਬੜੀ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਖੁਸ਼ਬੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਲੈ ਲੈ ਤੇ ਫਲਾਂ ਲੈ ਲੈ ਤੇ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ। ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬਾਊ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਬੜੀ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਅਬਦੁਲ ਸਲਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਲਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਲਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਫਾਰਸੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਬੜੀ, ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨੇ ਨਾ, ਅਬਦੁਲ ਸਲਾਮ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਬੜੀ ਫਾਰਸੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਅਲਾਮਾ ਇਕਬਾਲ ਦੀ ਖੁਦੀ ਲੈ ਲਾ ਤੇ ਫਲਾਂ ਲੈ ਲਾ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬਾਊ ਕੀ ਮਸਲਾ ਤੇਰਾ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਤਨਖਾਹ ਹੈ ਤੇਰੀ, ਤੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਪੈਂਟ ਸ਼ਰਟ ਪਾਈ है, ਕੀ ਗੱਲ है? तो पंजाबी जो है ना वो बड़े किंग मेकर्स हैं, बड़े तेज हैं और इसलिए तो हुकूमत कर रहे हैं सारी रीजन्स पे। वो हम तो कहते हैं अपने दोस्तों को जिंदगी जिसको कि भाई बाहर निकलो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, पार्टिसिपेट करो, देखी जाएगी।
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर।